In summertime, with the water warming up, there is a lots of seaweed coming from the Gulf Stream. But the main problem is, this is what we call a sargassum.
My name is Colin Davis, and this is my second year teaching at MCDS. From a young age, I've always been deeply interested in particularly marine ecosystems around the globe. My parents always took my brother and I to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, growing up to surf and snorkel and play in tidal pools, so it was really, really easy to fall in love with that, just the whole nature of natural spaces. I spent a lot of time in my youth going to aquariums and zoos on rainy days, spending hours and hours of time outdoors, so it was a very easy field to fall into. I've always sort of gravitated towards natural spaces out of personal passion and just interest in all of the life and really a lot of the psychological benefits of spending time in those spaces. So really ever since birth, I've had a really deep interest in spending time in blue and green spaces. You enter the field wanting to educate. So the answer that I'm sure comes out the quickest is to provide engaging, equitable, and easily digestible presentations, lectures, activities, immersive field experiences, XYZ. There has been meaningful legislation put forth by global entities or just national interests. So plastic, so to be upfront, plastic usage is still very much an issue. Microplastics are going to be a problem for a long time. And it is very, I would almost expect the problem to be seen as getting worse rather than better, simply because plastic is not natural, it does not degrade, and it is such an integral component of our society, and a lot of the success of many first world nations and rising nations is due to plastic products. That being said, at least we have identified the problems with plastic. And I think the most dangerous point in time concerning plastics in natural spaces was in its heyday, when it was first implemented, when it was only viewed as a revolutionary material, which, don't get me wrong, plastic is. The chair I'm sitting in, I would not be sitting in right now were it not for artificial plastic production. But now that we see the downsides and have entered those into conversations about our practices and are allowing communities to kind of engage with, okay, how are we going to mitigate this? How are we going to use this? Is there anything we can do to recycle this product? I can't help but feel that plastic usage is going to eventually be mitigated. I find the larger issue to be the plastic products that are already out in the world. Spending time at the beach every weekend in my summers as a kid and watching bags of Little Bites muffin wrappers and Cheez-It wrappers and stuff get, tossed from the beach into the ocean. It's like that occurrence was just part of it, and as a kid it's that was normal. There was nothing that was shocking, and that in itself is what is shocking. It's a field that can make you feel exceptionally angry or depressed a lot of the time. But that being said, it's also a field where there is so much triumph, and there are so many people out in the world trying to do the right thing, and there are so many people that might do something that's counterproductive to sustainability, but they want to do better. There are a lot of people that can want to do better, and that in itself is the encouraging bit. You can't just be brought down by a lot of cause and effect of the human condition. There's always triumph with tragedy.
The algae bloom does affect our business in summertime. The main issue we have here at Quandon Park, in summertime with the water warming up, there is a lots of seaweeds coming from the Gulf Stream. So the main problem is, this is what we call a sargassum. Sargassum comes in on the beach and piles up, not only in Quandon Park, but all the shoreline, the coast all around Florida and in the Caribbean. It's a big problem, endemic problem for quite some years now. And so the problem here specifically, it piles up and then it starts to go in putrefaction. It disintegrates and release this gas, which is very toxic, very uncomfortable, sulfur. And so the water, in shallow water, just by the shoreline, the temperature and this putrefaction altogether increase the bacterial level. And then you have fish caught in it or any other wildlife things that can be caught in that thing, so they die. And so now you have even more bacteria. The level of bacteria is pretty high, but that's where most of people swim. So when this happens summertime, they close the beach very often. The lifeguard close the beach, they put a notification sign at the entrance, the water is closed. And then obviously it affects the business because we cannot rent kayak boarding, we have to do it far up there. And if the lifeguard typically close the water access, we're not allowed to go on the water because they are our authorities. So that's one major issue we have in summer in Miami, and I think it's the same all along the coast. And then with this sulfate smells spreading, sometimes we have to close. We cannot even stay here because it gives you headache. It smells a lot, it's very strong, and it's very an issue. So we have to close. We close the beach, my staff cannot stay, and the beach is empty, even in the middle of a nice summer day. One of the major issue we have also as well, which is structural due to the city of Miami water treatment plant here at Virginia Key. This is a very old, like 90 or 80 years old treatment plant, which has not been updated as much as it should have been. And so all the Miami water, a big part of it, are treated here. And there is a big pipe underground in the water going 2 miles or 3 miles out. But this pipe is based on metal materials that is actually rusted out. So this pipe is leaking at many different points, location on it. And so as soon as there is a leakage, obviously, even if the water is partially treated, that water comes straight all along Quandon Park and Key Biscayne and all the beaches around. So, and sometimes it goes in through the Bearcut. The Bearcut is a little water bridge right there between Virginia Key and Key Biscayne Island, and it's spread into the bay. So Hobby Beach is closed, the whole bay is contaminated, Quandon Park is contaminated, and then we have a warning that is provided by the turn, and that's happened every time during the summer, 3-4 times a year, and that is even more emphasized, increased because of the temperature of the water as well. The warmer it is, the more the bacteria have fun and develop. So this is the two major problems we have in here. The sargassum accumulation on the shoreline, which starts putrefaction, And then the water treatment plant with leakage, and then this is gross because it's actually human waste.